what the ordinary folks that you met feel about things. To what extent do they support attacks on army and police headquarters as a way of overcoming the regime?
Well, it's funny, I spoke to about 4 or 5 people, even the people who had a residual degree of sympathy for the president, said, if those people are out there on the streets defending their communities, well, good luck to them, because they're very courageous and they have a perfect right to do that. Now, as it stands, the Free Syrian Army is in no position to protect the people of Homs. They're mounting several guerrilla attacks, and that's interesting. But, in no way is this a real army which is capable of protecting communities. It may well grow, but at the moment it's mounting occasional guerrilla attacks to strike back at the regular Syrian army.
Okay, James Hartley, thanks very much. Jonathan Head, let's go back to you. The point being made that it is outside powers, in particular Turkey, who are doing a lot of the dealing here. We listened to the Syrian National Council talking about defending civilians. Some will look at parallels to what happened in Libya, of course. Defending civilians was the reason, of course, for NATO to go in. Do you think we should play up those parallels, or do you think that's going a bit too far?
Well, it's a very different situation from Libya, but Jason's points are very valid. There's no doubt every state around Syria is acting in its own interests, and the interests are far more vital over Syria than they were in Libya. There's no doubt Saudi Arabia is playing a very big game here. It would love to unseat Iran as the primary backer of the Syrian government, and Turkey is more or less aligning itself with Saudi Arabia now. It hasn't in the past. It's trying to play an even role between Iran and Saudi Arabia. This is geopolitics. One mustn't be too cynical. Turkey has an 850 kilometre border with Syria, and the Turkish government is genuinely really worried about escalating a sectarian conflict. Whether they're doing the right thing or not, whether there are other games being played by its military is hard to say. But I think they genuinely want to control this in a way that turns out better if they have a stable Syria. I don't think they want a war. But of course, they do what they can with what they've got here, which is the Free Syrian Army, even though it's only nominal leadership, the Syrian National Council are trying to mould them into a possible government in waiting. But as James says, events on the ground tend to follow their own pattern anyway. It may be that whatever these outside powers do, they lose control of it.
And the response from Damascus likely to be a shrug of the shoulders?
At this stage, the Turkish government's view is, I think, echoed by many others. They can't deal with them anymore. The Assad government, in their view, is finished. It's only a matter of time. That may be optimistic, but very few outside powers now think there are any deals, any discussions to be had with President Assad. Unfortunately, that path which many people preferred earlier on of a negotiated end to the Syrian crisis seems to have been abandoned.
So what next?
Ready?
想幫佢連到嘅，
咩連到啊？
我想幫連到嘅話 wireless connection failed because network denied association request from this computer. You restart your account to
咁咪下邊個會同事可以睇下咯。
好啦，做咩啊？
試下咯，試啊。
好啊，佢睇。係啊。
Coming in on the French AFP news agency, Syria, United States media saying it's suspending its membership of the Mediterranean Union in response to European measures taken against it. You're listening to News Hour on the BBC World Service.
Support for WHYY comes from PNC Wealth Management, helping customers live achievement by crafting personalized solutions to grow, preserve, and transfer wealth. More information is available from John Conaway at 215-585-5438.
WHYY shadow traffic time. Here's Erica.
It actually is padded for Eric this morning, but I'll tell you what, we've got some delays north on the northeast extension of the PA Turnpike. Joanne, this is approaching Lansdale, about mile marker 26. Anderson and White Lane is blocked, and northeast extension southbound from Lansdale for south of Lansdale. That's your major delay. And also, problems on 202. This is southbound approaching 29. Construction jamming things up Paoli on down northbound at the 30 bypass in through 29. Still some scattered delays on the Schuylkill Expressway. possible by IHOP or WHYY. I'm Pat Winters.
42 degrees in Philadelphia at 9:20.
You're listening to the BBC World Service. I'm James Kamarasamy with News Hour. With all eyes and hopes on China to be the motor that drives the global economy out of the ditch, the latest economic figures from the country make for worrying reading. Growth may still be a healthy 9% a year, but manufacturing activity is down. One key indicator is at its lowest level for 2.5 years. So does this mean that China isn't immune from the problems being experienced by the European and American economies? Our economic correspondent
Data on this is a survey of purchasing managers in Chinese industry, and they do suggest a significant downturn in export orders in particular. And of course, the Eurozone and the United States, terribly important markets for Chinese manufacturers, and it's hardly a surprise, frankly, to see that they are suffering the impact of it. It's also striking, though, that the strength of the domestic economy was not sufficient to offset this impact. Indeed, there's some sign of China's own domestic economy weakening. So,
After 1/4 mile, bear right,
How bad is it?
right.
China has been bringing new measures, hasn't it, to encourage banks to lend more money. How smart do you think the Chinese authorities are?
I think they really are decidedly smart. The measures that we had more than 24 hours ago,
Bear right,
clearly
US 13, West Hunting Park Avenue. Then, right, towards Ridge Avenue.
Chinese